Be Frankie.
Yeah, I'm striving for greatness, trying to make it out. We're stuck in the matrix. Yeah, I'm striving for greatness, trying to make it out. We're stuck in the matrix. Yeah, I'm striving for greatness, trying to make it out. We're stuck in the matrix. Yeah, I'm striving for greatness, trying to make it out. We're stuck in the matrix.
Yo, what's good? It's your boy B-Dell. If you're new to this channel, hit the like button, hit that share button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. But today I'm going to give a definitive transmission on the dichotomy between the real chosen and the fake chosen, and how the fake chosen will vehemently live vicariously through those who have a true divine purpose on the planet. So this is basically equated and aligned to the analogy of a car with a dead battery, meaning that they need you to give them power. They need you to give them vitality. They need you in a form of an energy extraction to recalibrate off your energy, right? And that happens because they don't possess the four elements of the soul, right? So when you lack the principles and the four elements of the soul, which is thinking, reasoning, understanding, and willpower, those things is connected to the frequency of the soul. These four elements is what makes you chosen, right? Meaning that you're harmonically balanced to where you're able to reap the benefits of spiritual atonement, right? So I'm going to be breaking down the attributes of the fake chosen, right? So the attributes of the fake chosen, when you look at these illustrations that I have around this, these are the people who try to live vicariously through politicians, rappers, celebrities. These are the people who are stuck to religion. They create an artificial purpose. They create an illusionary perception that's connected to the three-dimensional paradigm, which is comprised of people, places, and possessions. So what happens is they start to live through other people's purpose to create a purpose in a form of energy extraction. So what happens is a lot of times when people don't have a purpose, right? This is why it's, for the real chosen, this is why it's very meticulous for you to be meticulous of people who try to befriend you, be very meticulous of people who want to have sex with you, be very meticulous of people who want to be in a relationship with you, be very meticulous of anybody who's basically trying to embark your energy. They're basically trying to mimic your energy. So it's actually the same concept of an NPC. So you got 5,000 NPCs to one source player. So that's why it's imperative to understand that when you have individuality, a lot of times they're going to try to piggyback off your energy by living through your purpose, right? So everybody in this simulation, everybody that's acclimated to this paradigm, is one of those things where you got to understand that everybody is compromised. When you have people who are very compromised mentally, physically, and spiritually, they're going to use you to harvest your energy as a form of energy extraction, right? So one thing you also got to understand about people who are basically comprised of the fake chosen, they don't do their shadow work. These are the people who step into spirituality. They step into a certain knowledge without doing no shadow work, right? Because when you go through the process of self-realization and you come to terms with your shortcomings and your fuck-ups, right? That is basically the foundation of healing, right? So what the fake chosen, they give off this illusionary perception that they're healed, and they step into a certain knowledge, and they step into spirituality. So that is the precursor to them having mental illness. These are the people who think that everything is fake. These are the people who think that everybody who's putting out a certain truth is a Boule member, or they're basically an agent. These are the people who have, toxic traits that basically try to subjugate the energy of those who is trying to reverse the polarity of the negativity that's being propagated by the deep state shadow government, right? So it's one of those things where people who do the fake chosen, they never do their shadow work. They step into spirituality, they step into consciousness, and this is where, you know, they don't understand the diametrical difference between what's real and what's fake. You know what I'm saying? They start to say and do things that don't make any sense, which is basically the foundation of mental illness. So, you know, these people are not, you know, enlightened. They're not conscious. They're dealing with mental psychosis, right? And they confuse mental psychosis with enlightenment, because true enlightenment is basically the embodiment of healing. So if you haven't done your shadow work and you step into spirituality, you're actually going to castigate those who is doing the real edification and putting out the truth, right? So you got people like myself that's putting out a certain truth. You got people who haven't done their shadow work. They get so deep into the information to where they see it as a form of deflection. They start to deflect. It's to the point where they castigate me and say that I'm an agent, or anybody who's putting out a certain truth, they say that they're an agent, just because they don't understand the spiritual atonement process of doing your shadow work, right? So before you step into any type of knowledge, it's very imperative that, you know, you do your shadow work and you understand and come to terms with your trauma that was subjugating you on a spiritual level. Now, another thing about what the fake chosen do, they would basically jeopardize a good thing for a good time. But the real chosen, they will basically salvage a good thing and basically ignore a good time. That is basically the dichotomy between the real chosen and the fake chosen. Because, you know, a lot of people who are connected to the paradigm of the fake chosen, that whole regime in itself is people who have a emotional connection to everything all around them, to where they need external stimulation, right? So where they jeopardize anything that's actually supposed to revitalize their lifestyle and put them in a state of evolution, right? And then you also have the fake chosen. They copy the energy of the real chosen in hopes of getting the same results, right? So they'll copy you, they'll mimic your energy so much to the point where they try to sabotage your energy when they understand that, and when they understand and come to the realization that they don't have the energy that you possess. So this is where people get very intrusive, they get very cynical, and they become very combative. So much to the point to where they start to scrutinize your energy and monitor you in a form of gang stalking, right? So it's very imperative to understand those traits of the fake chosen. And then one thing you got to understand about the fake chosen, you know, they're very attention seeking, right? They need everything that's connected to the three-dimensional paradigm. They need it in a form of validation. They need validation to have a form of attention, right? So it's kind of like the same energy of a person, you know, that was like hypothetically speaking, let's just say of a person, they was ignored all throughout their childhood, right? That is basically a trauma response that's connected to their adulthood. So now when they become adults, they doing all these theatrics, they doing all types of stuff to get attention. Real chosen people, we don't have to do anything for attention. You don't have to dress loud. We don't have to be loud. We don't have to do anything that's basically outside of our energy to get attention, because our energy speaks for itself. So what the fake chosen do, they try to create this dynamic, to make themselves seen, to give them a form of an illusionary purpose. And a lot of times the fake chosen, they create a fake purpose through materialism, right? These are the people who have jobs, and the job, they have really good jobs, and the job becomes their personality trait, or the car becomes their personality trait, or the big house becomes their personality trait, right? So you mean to tell me, the fake chosen, a lot of them are very much stuck inside of monotheistic belief systems. You mean to tell me that Jesus, basically negated the subjugation of Black people and gave you a house, gave you a car, gave you all this money, gave you all these blessings, but basically negated a whole demographic of people? So that's why I said a lot of people who are comprised of the fake chosen, they don't operate in a place of rationality. They're not very practical when it comes to reality, right? So also another thing you got to understand about the fake chosen, they will basically dim the light of the true chosen ones, right? They dim the light of the true chosen ones because, like I said, they got to piggyback off your energy. And when they're not able to piggyback off your energy, this is where they start to subjugate your energy, right? Because your energy alone puts a spotlight on their shortcomings. It puts a spotlight on their fuck ups, right? So now this is where they begin to gossip about you. This is where they try to create an alliance of people to go against the chosen. Another thing about the fake chosen, they're not creative, right? Because one thing you got to understand about, the whole logistical order of the universe, everything operates on expansion and acceleration, which is the precursor to creation. So creation and being creative in itself is a form of expression, just like how the universe was able to express itself by creating a multitude of planets and creating other galaxies. So with the fake chosen, they're not able to create. They only steal the energy of those who are actually chosen, because chosen ones express themselves through their creations, right? Another thing about, the fake chosen, they didn't understand that society is so fake that they're uncomfortable with the truth, because the fake chosen are basically the embodiment of the false light, right? Meaning that they connect themselves to everything that's comprised of the three-dimensional paradigm, right? They're basically politically correct conformists, right? They go along to get along. But the chosen, they go against the grain, right? They go against the grain. So much to the point where, like I said, they have individuality. That's the thing with the fake chosen. They don't have individuality. So this is why they live through celebrities. They live through the religion. They live through anything that's connected to the artificial simulation, the artificial matrix system, right? And one thing you also got to understand about the fake chosen, they are very much double-minded, right? They say one thing and then negate the other, which makes them hypocrites, right? Because like I said, one thing about the fake chosen, they don't have the mental fortitude to fathom the unknown. They say things like, oh, Jesus walked on water and Jesus did this and that and all these other things. But when a real chosen one possess certain abilities, they say it's witchcraft, right? They say that it's fake. They say it's a conspiracy. These are people who are very much double-minded, and double-minded people are very confused people. So it's very imperative for the real chosen to stay away from double-minded individuals, right? Another thing with the fake chosen, they run with packs of people because they lack the embodiment of individuality. When you don't have individuality, you start to chase stimulation, right? Because you don't have the vibration to cultivate your own energy in a form of magnetism, right? Because like I said, when you chosen, you change your mentality, you change your vibration, that vibration becomes magnetism. Everything comes to you, right? The fake chosen, they chase stimulation. They looking for friends. They looking for fun. You know what I'm saying? They looking for anything that's outside of themselves to give them a false sense of purpose, right? And the reason I say that is because one thing you got to understand about the fake chosen, when the grid goes down, right? There's no more jobs for the people who live through their jobs. Your purpose is not to work a job. Your purpose is not to be a basketball player or rapper. Your purpose is not connected to anything in the three-dimensional world. Your purpose is not to be in politics. Your purpose is not to be a teacher, a firefighter. Your purpose is not comprised of anything that's connected to the civilization of Western civilization, right? Because when the grid goes down, none of these things exist, right? Nothing that's connected to the three-dimensional paradigm exists when you have, the malfunction of the grid going down. But the only thing that exists and the only thing that's basically sustainable as we're going through this energy shift on the planet, the only thing that's sustainable are truth tellers, right? Because when the grid goes down, you still gonna have healers. You still gonna have truth tellers, right? Those are the things that you cannot castigate. Those are the things that have a long-lasting vibration on the planet. Those are the things that's going to be here forever. Truth tellers is going to be here since the beginning of time and to the end of time. But you take away everything that's connected to a form of materialism, you take away everything that's connected to the third dimension, at least about 85% of the people on the planet won't have a purpose no more, right? Because like I said, the fake chosen, they show credence and veneration to everything that's connected to the third dimension, not understanding that the third dimension does not have evolution because it has to reset. Then you also got to understand that the fake chosen, they also worship things outside of themselves, right? They worship things outside of themselves because it's connected to the VMAT2 gene, which is the vesicular monomod transporter 2 gene. And I'm going to get into that as we go through the video. Meaning that they need external stimulation to give them a sense of hope, to give them a sense of belief, to give them a sense of vitality on the planet, right? So this is why you have, people like Nature Boy, Rashad Jamal, these individuals, they're basically, they facilitated and galvanized an audience because, people that was connected to that energy as they was putting out a certain truth or whatever, people that was connected to these individuals, they started to deify these people. And deification over time becomes, very, it can become very imperative. I mean, it can become one of those things that can become very dangerous. Put it like that. It can become very dangerous when you start having people deify you to where they no longer worship the message, they worship the individual. So fake chosen people, they worship, people if they doing anything that's in a form of degradation, right? Like so much to the point where let's just say that I'm putting out a certain truth, but they'll castigate my message. But they won't, the reason they castigate my message is because it's not coming from Nature Boy or it's not coming from Rashad Jamal. So like I said, the fake chosen, they don't understand or have the mental fortitude to extract the message from the individual. They start to worship these people, right? Because that's what spirituality is all about. You're not supposed to worship nobody. You have your own spiritual journey. You have your own spiritual journey so much to the point where you have to put yourself in a state of evolution by getting a certain edification from these people and going along with your business. So with the fake chosen, they're actually responsible for the degradation of Rashad Jamal and Nature Boy and people like that because y'all started to deify these people, right? You're not supposed to deify anything that's outside of yourself. As far, like I said, because the three-dimensional paradigm is comprised of people, places, and possessions. Those are the illusions, right? Anytime you worship anything outside of yourself, that's where it becomes acclimated to the illusion, right? Which is also connected to the worship gene. Now we're going to get into the worship gene. Now, what is it? Now, fake chosen people are very much stuck in religion. If they're not stuck in religion, they start to deify certain people. So the VMAT2 gene is the vesicular monomod transporter 2 gene, which is also the nomenclature title of the encoded gene of SLC18A2 gene, right? So this is basically the extraction of monomods, which also creates dopamine and serotonin that infiltrates the neurotransmitters. So the vesicular monomod transporter 2 gene gives you a false sense of purpose through a form of dopamine to where you stay connected to a belief system. And when you're connected to a belief system, that connects you right back to the demiurge when you understand the Gnostic text, right? Because the Gnostic text is basically comprised of the archons who created religion to worship things outside of yourself. Because in order to master yourself in the three-dimensional paradigm, in order to be chosen in the three-dimensional paradigm, you have to master yourself. Everything's internal, right? That is the foundation of mastery. So that's why, it's kind of hard for people who have this concept of indoctrination. They're indoctrinated because the vesicular monomer transporter 2 gene is actually a gene that was pre-encoded inside of certain humans on a planet to carry out a certain agenda that's connected to the simulation, right? So this concept was created and founded by Dean Hamer, right? And he came out with a book called The God Gene. So it's basically talking about how certain humans who are basically computer-generated spirits, which are basically NPCs, these NPCs have they basically have a pre-encoded hardwire God gene that's connected to the neurotransmitters, right? Excuse me, I'm still kind of sick, so bear with me. But what I'm saying is that the God gene is basically something that was pre-encoded and hardwired inside of their genetics to where they worship things outside of themselves, right? So it's a form of energy extraction. That's how the Archons, they create this whole illusionary world because they're feeding off the energy of the fake chosen. So now we're going to get into the attributes of the real chosen, right? Now, one thing about the real chosen, when you walk into the room, the energy shift because your energy, your vibration, your frequency puts a spotlight on everybody else's fuck ups. It puts a spotlight on their shortcomings because you become a mirror of who they really want to be, right? So when you walk in a room, this is basically the embodiment of what you actually see. When a chosen one walks in a room, you start to disrupt other people's demons, right? So this is why a lot of people, they want to befriend you. They want to be in a relationship with you. This is why, everything that basically embodies your chosen frequency, they want a piece of that energy. So this is where you get people start to hate on you. People start to, gang stalk you. People are jealous of you. That's because you have the true light. You are basically the embodiment of the true light while they are the false light, right? So the same thing happens when, when you out in public. A lot of people be staring at you for no reason because you have the vibrational frequency and the energy of the Most High. You're connected etherically to that bloodline, right? So that's why I tell you, when you go to Matthew's chapter 22, verse 14, many are called, only few are chosen. Everybody is not chosen. It tells you all throughout monotheistic teachings, it tells you all throughout ancient tablets or whatever, it tells you that there is a chosen people. Everybody is not chosen, right? Because if everybody was chosen, you wouldn't have so many people on the planet that was indoctrinated. You wouldn't have so many people on the planet that was hating on certain demographics of people, right? Matter of fact, have you ever seen a person that was hated by everybody, but until you met them for yourself and you actually seen that they were actually really good people, that person is chosen. Because like I said, about the real chosen people, they possess a certain vibration that makes people want to get to know them, or it makes people be very cynical and combative, right? So that's why, like I said, when you walk into the room, you make the energy shift. Some people are going to be baffled by your presence, and some people are going to hate your presence, right? Some people are going to be hate. A lot of times, you when you walk into the room, you at work or whatever, there's people who don't like you for no reason. That is basically telling you that you're chosen. You mind your business, be in people's faces. You go on about your business, you do your job, and you stay to yourself. One thing I know that about people who don't have the energy of the chosen, when they don't possess the energy of the chosen, they start to castigate those who are chosen, to where they start to form an alliance, and they basically form a band of people to hate on chosen people, right? Because they have the light, they have the glow, they have the aura of the Most High, right? So that's why it's imperative for those who are chosen. You know what I'm saying? You got to be very meticulous. That spiritual journey is a lonely journey because you understand that the great majority of people on the planet are very much compromised, right? So when you're chosen, another attribute of the chosen, one thing you got to understand is that we're very much misunderstood, and we okay with it. Don't nobody got to understand your spiritual journey, not your family members. You know what I'm saying? Like, because you came back to the planet to reverse the polarity of the trauma that basically haunted and subjugated your bloodline. You're the black sheep of the family for a reason. You came back here to shed a certain truth. You came back here to basically reverse everything that basically, subjugated your whole bloodline. You came back for this purpose. You know what I'm saying? You were basically incarnated for that reason, right? So that's one of those things where you got to understand that everybody is not going to understand your purpose. Everybody's not going to understand your journey, right? That's why it's imperative to understand you got to walk that spiritual journey alone. You know what I'm saying? You ain't here to make friends. You ain't here to make people happy. You know what I'm saying? You ain't out here, you know what I'm saying? You ain't here to seek approval, right? Because your energy speaks for itself, right? You have an authentic energy. So one thing you got to understand about the real chosen, you embrace not being like because of your authenticity. We don't care about being liked. Chosen people do not give a fuck about being liked by nobody, right? Because like I said, we do not people please. And the reason we don't people please is because our energy alone contains a certain vibration to where it's going to galvanize the energy of those who are actually authentic. You know what I'm saying? That's why I says, walk that spiritual journey until you find your tribe. You know what I'm saying? Walk that spiritual journey until you find your tribe. And a lot of times your tribe is not connected to your family. It's not connected to the people that you grew up with. It's not connected to the people, that you work with at work, right? It's not connected to your spouse. And another thing you always got to, one thing you got to understand about the real chosen is that we're always in a state of evolution, right? We do not basically degenerate. We do not devolve. We always in a state of evolution by doing many different things that are basically self-affirming, because we have the 4 elements of the soul, which is thinking, reasoning, understanding, and willpower. Because when you don't have the principles of the soul, that creates instability and irresolution. But we don't reap the benefits, the negative benefits of irresolution, because we're always evolving, right? We're not stagnant. That's another thing about, we're going to be hated for evolving as we're going through this great awakening period. As the planet is shifting, you're supposed to be shifting with the planet. You're not supposed to be stagnant. Because if you really was connected to this planet, you would basically be evolving. Those who are not evolving, they're going along to get along by connecting themselves to everything in a form of materialism, right? Let me get a drink of water here for a second. And another thing, chosen people, the real chosen, it's very hard for us to be in relationships because, you know what I'm saying? Real chosen people, we're not, one-dimensional. We're multi-dimensional. We street smart, we book smart, and we have high spiritual intelligence, which makes us intuitive to where it gives us the ability of discernment, right? So it's very hard for us to be in relationships because we can see through the bullshit before we even get into a certain situation, to where we scrutinize every individual that basically wants to encounter our energy. So it's very hard for us to be in relationships because a lot of people come into our life, they're basically distractors, right? They're distractors and they're here to take you off your purpose. And these are actually the same people who want to be connected to your purpose, right? As I was talking about the fake chosen. Now, another energy that the real chosen people actually possess, we move different because we know the truth. When you know the truth, you don't hang around with certain people, you don't go around certain places, and you don't do anything that's outside of yourself. Like I said, we don't chase stimulation. We are the vibration, right? We are the vibration. We don't chase anything that's outside of ourselves. So we move differently. We move like a serpent. We move like a serpent, and we have the wisdom of a serpent. And we're vicious like a serpent. So much to the point where we're able to cultivate boundaries in the form of being stern. Because like I said, spirituality has nothing to do with love and light. Has nothing to do with crystals and head wraps and all that other shit. Spirituality is all about cultivating certain boundaries to where you need your spiritual fortitude to be balanced. So just as much as I can be positive, I can be negative. You know what I'm saying? I can be positive, but I can cuss a motherfucker out if they get out of pocket. Spirituality is not all about love and light. You know, spirituality is about not being tricked. It's about establishing boundaries, right? To where you're stern. We you know what I'm saying? It's not about being like, you know what I'm saying? We ain't got time to be nice. You know what I'm saying? It's not about being nice and none of that stuff. So like I said, we move different because we understand what's going on. We move different because we know the truth. A lot of people don't know the truth. So this is why they're easily tricked, right? So with the fake chosen, they conform to everything to where they're tricked by the government, right? Oh, that's a black politician. Oh, he has a best, he or she has a best interest at heart. That's the tricknology, right? Just because they look like you don't mean that they're basically for you. Sugar and salt look just the same, but they have a different frequency. They have a different taste, right? So like I said, you got to develop that discernment to where you're able to decipher good from evil. So with the real chosen, we're able to decipher good from evil. So that's why we move different. We think different. We got a different frequency. We talk different. You know, everybody might look the same or whatever. So, but one thing you got to understand about the chosen, we might wear the same clothes as everybody, but our mental state is different. I can wear urban clothes and still be able to connect with somebody in a business meeting, right? Because like I said, we are not one-dimensional. You cannot marginalize chosen people. We're multifaceted. You know what I'm saying? We're chameleons. You know what I'm saying? We're able to adapt we're able to adapt in any environment. You know what I'm saying? So that's like I said, chosen people move different. One thing you got to understand about chosen people, when people cannot figure you out, that's when they begin to hate on you, right? They can't figure you out, so now they got to create illusions and circumstances in their mind to have this hatred for you, right? That's what they do. So when they can't figure you out, they can't figure out why you in a state of evolution while they're in a state of stagnation. They still trying to figure out how you doing it. So this, like I said, this is where people start to mimic your energy. So when they're not able to possess the same energy that you have, this is when they begin to hate on you. This is where they begin to attack you. So this is where they begin to have secret competition with you. So the real chosen, we always in a state of evolution. We in competition with ourselves. We in competition with our shadow self. We're trying to subjugate that energy. We in competition by trying to align ourselves with our higher self that's connected to our oversoul. You know what I'm saying? We trying to master our diet. We trying to get, you know, enlightened, more conscious. You know, because one thing you gotta understand about the real chosen, as the world becomes faker, the more authentic we become. As the world becomes more transhumanistic, the more we become a supreme being. As the world becomes soulless, the more we embody the soul. So like I said, you cannot, you know, acclimate yourself to people who are basically in secret competition with you, right? People are in secret competition with you is because, like I said, they cannot possess your energy. That's why this planet is going through a dimensional split. The real chosen versus the fake chosen. And the fake chosen are the ones that's going to be left behind. Fifth dimension, third dimension, new heaven, new earth, Revelation chapter 21, verse 1, right? for those who are stuck in religion. I gotta, recite these scriptures because, like I said, everybody is not chosen. Because if it was, the great majority of people on the planet would not be indoctrinated by westernized concepts. So, with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, this segment was based on the fact that there is a delineation between the real chosen and the fake chosen, right? As I was showing you, like I said, these are the attributes of the fake chosen, which is living through people's purpose, no shadow work. They jeopardize good things, copying the energy of the real chosen. They are attention sinking. They create a fake purpose through materialism. They try to dim the light of the true chosen ones. They are not creative. Society is so fake that they're uncomfortable with the truth because they are basically the embodiment of the false light. They are basically politically correct conformists. They are double-minded, and they run with packs of people because they don't have no individuality, and they worship things outside of themselves. Now, the real chosen, we embrace the real attributes of the Most High. We make the energy shift. We are misunderstood. We embrace not being liked because we are basically authentic people. We always in a state of evolution. We are popular loners. Popular loners, like I said, a popular loner is one of those people. We know that, the great majority of people are very much compromised. So we know that we got to be alone. Ain't nothing wrong with being alone. Being alone is one of those things where you got to come to terms with your shadow work, right? Because if you could be alone, that means that you have the ability to be with somebody else in the future. You know what I'm saying? Some people can't be alone because they get bored. And some people, they just don't possess the energy of being alone because they don't have the discipline enough to be bored. So that's where you're supposed to alchemize certain situations. You're supposed to use your boredom as a form of extraction to extract that energy and do something to create. Like I said, chosen ones, they have the ability to create through expression and expansion because we're basically the foundation of the universe. We're connected to that energy. Because like I said, everything in the universe moves on a logistical order. It has boundaries, and it has expansions, and it has a form of acceleration to where it creates a multitude of celestial bodies. Real chosen ones, we have the ability to create through alchemy. You know what I'm saying? We have that energy. So like I said, it's one of those things where, a lot of people are going to be very much left behind as we're going through this shift. As we're going through this shift, you're going to see people for who they truly are, right? The people who show credence to these celebrities and these influencers, those are all the fake chosen. The fake chosen the real chosen is actually speaking against everything that's connected to the three-dimensional world. That's how you know. That's how you know who's chosen, who's not. Just like hypothetically speaking, you got all this stuff that's coming out about Diddy and P. Diddy and Meek Mill and all these other celebrities. When you speak against those individuals or whatever, the fake chosen, they're going to come attack you because, like I said, they have an emotional connection to celebrities. They have an emotional connection to politicians. They have an emotional connection to anything that makes them feel good, which is connected to the God gene or the worship gene, which is also called the VMOT2 gene, the vesicular monomod transporter 2 gene. You worship things outside of yourself. Real chosen people don't worship nothing, right? We give credence and we show and we pay homage to the Most High, but you cannot be in a state of mastery to where you become a master when you worship things outside of yourself. That's how you become the Antichrist because you are anti yourself, right? So it's very imperative to understand that, the real chosen, you got to separate yourself from the fake chosen. Those are not your people. I don't care if they're family members. I don't care if you was in relationships with them. I don't care if you was best friends with them or y'all work buddies. Those are not your people. Because we living in a time right now, eventually we're going to have to pick a side. You're going to have to pick a side, and it's very imperative to understand that if you choose the wrong side, you're going to choose the karma of those who are connected to the third dimension. Because the third dimension is going through a process of judgment. Because there's no evolution for the third dimension. So as things start to eradicate from the third dimension, that's when the real chosen, they're basically going to excel beyond the constraints of the three-dimensional paradigm. Right? So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, get this video out there. Get this video out there for the chosen people, for the black sheep of the family. This video is an educational version for those who don't understand the diametrical difference between the real chosen and the fake chosen. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, end of transmission.
10:14. We will put an end to this madness.
It's me again, God. I know it's been a long time since I last called you back on your line. So I hope and I pray for your hand to help me on the ladder to the land. Karma's gonna get to you, and then you'll have a chariot with only one less friend. Now I had distant folks that are looking to my eyes to understand the wisdom he's given and his wealth from the skies. So thanks for this meal that I'm about to receive, and thank you for my health and all the good memories. Thanks for the courage taking on another day when I used to not believe, but now I know about grace. Stay away from the fire, cause the flames does burn. Go with your gut feeling, when it's wrong you learn. For every one step I take, the Lord takes two. And do unto others if you want it done unto you. It's me again, God. I know it's been a long time since I last called you back on your line. So I hope and I pray for your hand to help me on the ladder to the land. It's me again, God. I know it's been a long time since I last called you back on your line. So I hope and I pray for your hand to help me on the ladder to the land. This a completion, the selfish Proto-Grecian, Amerindian, Phoenician. I'm the last of the Mohicans, the bastard of the land, the pen, melanin, accretion. And we just trying to get back to the fact that we was kings and queens of a land before the avalanche seized it. I live on Turtle Island with the rest of the diseased. Better than the medicine for 7 different treatments. Niggas try to ride away but end up getting seasick. The sleep can feel my words like Braille, and they're awakened with the penmanship of Hindu script written in them vacant monastery honor. Payments to the prototype. Tomorrow's only a day away, but nothing happens overnight. The fuck's wrong with going left when you know it's right? Biting off more than I can chew, that's an overbite. Black on black crime is like watching 2 soldiers fight when all along they was on the same page. History. It's me again, God. I know it's been a long time since I last called you back on your line. So I hope and I pray for your hand to help me on the ladder to the land. It's me again, God. I know it's been a long time since I last called you back on your line. So I hope and I pray for your hand to help me on the ladder to the land.